Yeah, it's that time again, folks. And, we already had an interview with Tyler Kukahiko. Now we're going to have one with the brother, Jason Kukahiko. And it's funny because here in Hawaii Kaika, there's been, I think I've had 3 sets of brothers on the show. So we had the Palmer boys, Mike and Martin. We had the Lee boys, Adam and Lyndon. And now we got Tyler and Jay. And it's kind of cool because, and again, it's my cousin again. Yes, that's true. And, but it's pretty cool because Jason and I have been keeping in touch on the regular because he would come to Hawaii to come visit for work and for vacay as well. Get the family more in touch with the Hawaiian roots and stuff like that. So we've been keeping in touch quite often, and it's kind of cool being able to interview him now. He's been able to accomplish a lot of different things, which I won't talk about right now because I know he will. But I'm just going to share with you my cousin, Jason Kukahiko. Brother, if you could go ahead and introduce yourself to the crew.
Absolutely, Gavon. Gav, thank you so much for talking to me and inviting me to this. I know my brother was on before, and it's been amazing to watch all of these videos and just see, a lot of people, that I'm like, oh my gosh, I know that person too. And just the connections we all have with everybody. But no, yeah, my name's Jason Kukahiko, older brother of Tyler Kukahiko. Even though he looks older than me, I am definitely the more better looking one, the younger looking one. No.
Yes.
He's definitely more fit. He's definitely, I can't say too much because he'll come and he'll slap me around. But no, so like Tyler said, grew up here in the island of Orem, Utah, out here with my family, and married, have 4 kids, three daughters, 18, 16, and 12, and a little boy who's 6. Lived in Utah my whole life. And been privileged to be able to be born of good parents, as Nephi was, and just a really good family, and surrounded by a lot of good people, which is something I'd like to talk about too, on this, about the importance of that. But currently, job-wise, have always worked in sales. Right out of college, I started in pharmaceutical sales, worked my way through pharmaceutical sales, medical device sales, and then currently right now, working in management in aesthetics. So trying to make the world a little bit more silky smooth out there, which brought me out to Hawaii a lot to work with a lot of dermatologists, plastic surgeons, medical spas too. And so definitely my job takes me on the road to work with a lot of these people, but it's very rewarding because it kind of fits into what I love to do, which is kind of coach, mentor, and help people and on the sales side. So it's just a little bit about me right there.
Did you know that that's what you wanted to do, was get involved with sales? Did you know?
I actually wanted to be, when I first started off, I wanted to be in something medical wise. I actually wanted to be a doctor. One of my good friends, we had a plan kind of in high school that he was going to be an OBGYN and I was going to be an anesthesiologist. And so come in and be able to do all the injections and doing all those things. And so we talked about that, and even did a little rotation in high school where my dad, he worked at the hospital as a respiratory therapist and was able to get me into every once in a while go visit some of the physicians up over there and anesthesiologists and rotate with them, which was really interesting. But when I got to college, at college, I was also involved with playing sports as well. So I was trying to juggle at the very beginning, my freshman, sophomore year, trying to juggle football and also schooling and getting the grades that I needed to get into medical school. And it was pretty tough. It was really, really hard to do that. But at the same time, I was taking some writing classes and communication classes, and graduated in public relations, actually. So I switched over to public relations, graduated in public relations, wanted to maybe get a master's in public administration, go into hospital administration. That was another avenue I was looking to get into. But I kind of came to a crossroads in my life when I graduated. When I graduated from BYU, there were a couple of things, different pathways I was looking at. I was married and I had a newborn child. So at that time, I was also, with football being done, I was training for pro day, to see if there'd be something there in the league, something future there. I just took a job at PF Chang's to be a waiter to earn some money for my family. I also just applied to graduate schools to get a master's. And then at the same time, I just did an interview with a pharmaceutical company. So all those things kind of happened within a 2-week span, and came down to the decision of kind of like, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? And then talking with my wife at the time and trying to figure out what I wanted to do, that pharmaceutical position came open for me, and had to make the decision. And at that time, newlywed with a young child, I kind of was like, I got to start earning some money for my family. I got to start doing this. And went on a ride along with another pharmaceutical rep. And I was like, you know what? I really enjoy this. It still puts me in the medical field, which I love, science, all those things I'm deeply passionate about. But it kind of afforded me, now I can go in there and maybe learn a couple of things, and sell some medications on the side, and hopefully make a difference. So it was interesting. Yeah.
Legal drug dealer.
Legal drug dealer. Even though I had stuff in the trunk of my car, all of my young men at that time, when I was in young men's and everything and teaching the young men, I always would like, hey guys, come to the trunk of my car. I got stuff for you. And little pens and pads and all this other stuff that they're just like, you're a legal drug dealer. I'll go, yes, I am. I am a legal drug dealer. So, yeah.
I know. Yeah. I know you used to teach you about that too, man.
Yeah.
No, that's cool though. That it's interesting. You talk about being in sales, because, well, one of the things that I've noticed with several of the gentlemen that I had on the show, they would talk about how Polynesians tend to have this natural ability to connect with people, and so a lot of times they would get involved in industries that usually require a lot of people interaction, like job coaching, learning and development type stuff. You gotta teach people how to improve their skills, or sales. Sales is a huge one. And I just thought that was kind of interesting that you're in it too. I know Adam Lee does sales for like software companies and stuff, and there's some other guys that's been on the channel. Do you find that to be like something for you too? Like, you find yourself being able to easily connect with people and interact with them, and get along with them and stuff? You find that easy for you?
I hope so. I really do hope so. I think the one thing I always talk about in sales is being able to bring value, whatever that value might be, and letting that person you're talking to define what that value is. I think a lot of times we're good listeners. So, we're patient to be able to listen and understand and try to help those who are around us build other people up. And so I think that's part of it. I mean, yeah, I think on my end, just my personality, outgoing. It's so funny because if you talk to salespeople, a lot of salespeople are introverts too. Like, they like when job's done and work is over, they want to be home. They don't want to talk to anybody. They don't want to drive anywhere. They're kind of just by themselves. But when they're on and it's time to work and it's time to do something and to build something, they go to work. I think that's a huge part of it. But like, going back to what I said, is just defining what the value is. I've always talked with my sales reps and the ones who are successful. They always talk about the golden rule. Treat others as you would like to be treated, but the platinum rule is treat others as the way they want to be treated. And I think the key in sales is let those who you work with define your role in their life, define the role that brings value to them, and you bring it. You bring it on a consistent basis, and you do that for them. So when it's times to ask for the sale, to ask for the business and do those things, you have the right to do that if you brought the value they're looking for and they have defined. So, yeah.
That's cool, man. If you were to talk about maybe some of the challenges that you face, it can be in your life, any aspect, with your own personal life, your work life, health, or whatever. What have been like some of the biggest challenges that you have had to overcome for you?
I think for me, a lot of it has been, I'm pretty impatient. I've always been pretty impatient. I want to get things done. I want to get things done quickly sometimes. And sometimes in my life, what I've seen is in the past, what I've had to learn is, because I've been impatient, I do things a little too quickly sometimes, and it's not exactly what it should be. And it's just to get the job done, to get it done. Whereas it's better to take your time and make sure that the quality of the work is done, rather than just checking the box and having things to be finished. And I think the biggest thing I've learned from that is just with a family, right? With a family and kids, have really taught me that. Going back, I think, thinking about this and what to talk about and to look at other things too, is just growing up. And Tyler kind of alluded to this about my dad, right? And my family. Like my dad set the example for us for hard work and what to do. Didn't talk a lot. It's so funny. We laugh about my dad sometimes because we'd be sitting at the dinner table and he'd ask my mom, he's like, "Hey, what does Jason have tomorrow?" And she'd be like, "Glenn, he's sitting right there. Just ask him." Like, he's right there. Talk to him. He'll tell you what's going on. But no, I think the one thing, like growing up in my life, is I and my wife, we always talk about this. I had a lot of self-drive, a lot of personal inner drive, especially in athletics. My dad was set the example for hard work and everything, but I didn't have a mentor to really play catch with in the backyard, or go through or go shoot hoops, who would rebound for me, where you hear all those stories about like dads, and Tyler alluded to that as well. I think for me, it was just that inner drive to be better and to be the best I possibly could. And I just had that instinct, but at the same time, that came with, when I was young, kind of an arrogance, a cockiness. If you talk to a lot of my friends when I was young, they didn't like me very much. They didn't like me very much because I was very competitive and I was very arrogant and very cocky about the way I went about doing things. But I think by the time I got to high school, I started to realize and see, the effect that was having on the relationships of my friends and the people I was around. And I had to start to change my attitude and realize that it's not always about me. It is about a team. It is about my friends. It's about those things. And I think that really affected me and changed my direction on how I treat others long-term wise now, on how I treat my friends, on how I treat my family, and professionally right now, how I treat other people. We just got done with a national sales meeting for our company, and it was really interesting to see a lot of different people who won awards, and how they were really grateful to win those awards. And then you saw some other people in management who helped get those people there, but they were upset. Some of them were upset with themselves that they didn't win the award too. And it just took me back to a time just where you're like, as a manager and in leadership, your success are amongst the people you teach and you educate and you motivate. That's where the real success, when you see your peers succeed rather than your own success. And I think I learned that when I was younger, because when I was younger, I could care less about my friends' successes. I could care less about what other people were doing. I needed to get mine. I needed to get what I wanted. And I saw how it was affecting my relationships with people. And that kind of changed me to who I am today. Long-winded answer.
No, man. Thanks for sharing that, bro. That's pretty vulnerable too. Like, it's really interesting to hear or even notice a lot of folks like folks that I've grown up with in high school, and knowing how they were, growing up. Like maybe they might have been arrogant, like you were saying, like you were very arrogant, felt selfish, looking out for themselves, or they might have been the opposite. They could have been like very quiet, subdued, and whatnot. And then as we get older, it kind of seems like everybody starts to find that balance in life.
Mm-hmm.
When you start going into adulthood and the reality of life, and start having, if you have a spouse and kids and interacting with folks, everybody seems to start balancing off as they get older. I notice it's kind of interesting. Like when I go to my high school reunions, the guy who was maybe the real super shy guy is now the leader of some big organization, and stuff. And And then the one who was the popular guy now is like very humble and quiet because he got 5 kids that drive him crazy and stuff. So now he's like, hey, how's it going? You know, it's kind of funny to see that happen. Yeah.
It definitely changed. Yeah, you're exactly right. It's funny to see how everybody changes and molds, but it's all dependent upon our experiences, right? Of everybody's experience creates who they are today. So
yeah, no, that's true, man. Well, if you ever talked about triumphs in your life, what would you say was like your biggest accomplishment or something that you're proud of?
Oh, that's
Lenny.
No, I think right now there's yet to be some more accomplishments that I have, obviously, but I think what I have realized in my life is I have a good marriage. I have a good marriage. My wife and I have been talking about, friends of ours and coworkers of ours and everything that people are going through. And man, did I luck out? I mean, did I luck out with the person that I married? Because I think that's one of the biggest decisions we can ever make is who we want to spend the eternities with and our life with. And it's not easy, right? Marriage is not easy. It's not simple at all. But I think I found somebody on an equal playing field as me, or even probably a little bit better than me. That makes me want to be better. But at the same time understands that we're partners in this life, and we talk to one another, and we ask questions about next steps that we want to do with one another in our jobs, in our careers, with our kids. So, I would say my marriage. That's the biggest triumph I would have to say right now, is probably the biggest thing, is because you look at the world right now and it's hard. We hear stories all the time of husbands or wives and cheating and addictions and all these other things that are tearing families apart. And then the children are affected and all those things. And, it's so.
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that, bro. Seriously. Because in the last 2 years, like ever since COVID started, I've been noticing quite a few friends of mine, or even friends of ours that we went to college with. I see them over here in Hawaii, and I never would have thought the couples would have gotten divorced, but they did. I don't want to mention any names, but like 4 of them, I just found out recently. It's just like, wait, what? Really? How the heck did that happen? It's trying, man. Even us, like I lucked out in that my wife and I have great communication. Like if something comes up, she don't like what I do, or I don't like what she does, we always talked about it, and we always resolve it fairly quickly. And I've never had that in any relationship I ever had before her. Like all the girls that I've dated and stuff, and you met some of them. Yeah. All the girls that I've been with and dated and had relationships with, this for the first time, I feel like I'm with somebody who I can actually talk to, and she can talk to me openly about whatever it is, and we solve it like that, man. And that's rare, bro.
I know.
So lucky, bro. We lucky.
We very lucky. Yes. Yeah. So lucky.
But yeah. And then now, now that you and your wife are like so solid, now your kids have an example to look at too. Like Kat and I always talk about that, about how you as a couple kind of set the example for your kids. They watch you guys, how you interact, and then that can set up the example for how they interact with their spouses and everything too. Yeah. So it's kind of carries forth, man. It's just so important, bro. Just strengthening that family unit, bro. It's crazy.
Oh yeah. No, you're absolutely right. It's Hema, my brother-in-law, who's married to Mari and stuff, he does organizational behavior and everything. And the single most important business entity in the world is the family. It's so funny how, and he was talking about this before, of how every corporation spends millions and millions and millions of dollars on these coaching, right? Where you have these speakers come in and coach a business and help them become better and everything like that and do those things. The most important business unit in the world is the family. That is the single most important business unit in the world. is the family. And the more that we can be able to support, I mean, how much money do we spend on building the individual family, you know, family unit, and making sure that is secure? Because if that's secure, then that will help reflect all the other chains down the line and down the line and down the line to make a better community. And we're, look, a lot of us are dealt with a bad hand a lot of times in families, and we get that. I mean, that's just it. It's tough. It's hard. It's not easy, and you see that in a lot of people. But at the same time, it's we all are control of our choices on how we respond to things and how we do things. The worst thing we can ever do is say, well, that's just how generationally it has happened, so that's the way it's going to be. You know, my father was like this, my mother was like this, and so I'm probably going to have to be like this. If it's not the path you want or what you want to do, change it. Change it. Like, don't continue to be on that same path. Go change it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot of times too. Like you said, you see parents maybe had a dysfunctional marriage, and then one sibling follow the same route, says, oh, I'm like this because my parents were the same way, so I'm gonna be like that too. And then the other sibling is like, I do not want that for my family, so I'm going the other way, you know. And like you said, it really is up to your choice what you want for your family. You can't just say, well, that's how my parents were, so that's why I'm like that too, you know.
Yeah,
that's true, man. You gotta own it. If you ever had any advice to give other Polynesian men out there that are struggling with challenges right now, what would you want to tell them? What would you want to get them to know?
I think that this has been mentioned before, and Maka Keone, who I respect a lot, and got to know him because of his son, who played football for me last year, who's an incredible young man. When he was talking about a couple of the different things, the one thing he was talking about is your circle, right? The circle you hang out with. And I cannot agree more with that. Is you are who your friends are. When my young girls were growing up, or still growing up, but when they're growing, you know, in high school, elementary, you know, you start to define who your friends are and what groups you hang out with. And that's very important. And I was lucky enough to be able to be surrounded by some great friends, like really good friends. Jeff Fielding, Mike Weingarten, Andy Johnson, you know, Keone Cowways. These guys who were in my neighborhood, who I hung out with all the time, were huge influences in my life, and were great stalwart men who are good marriages, good lives, good kids. I mean, it's continued for them. And to kind of back up a little bit, so my younger age, when I was cocky, arrogant, all those other things, I did have one friend, one really good friend. His name was Tyler Rasmussen, who lived behind me. And Tyler and I hung out all the time. And I guess he was the only one who could have put up with me, because he was a little cocky and arrogant too. So we were meant for each other. But once we got into junior high, he started to choose a different path. He started to hang out with a group of guys who were a little bit more edgy, experimented with more things, did a lot more things. And we kind of started to separate ourselves a little bit. And Tyler started to hang out with the wrong crowd and got into some serious problems, very serious problems. Dropped out of high school, started hanging out with the wrong crowd, did a lot of wrong things, had issues with his family, with his parents, really hard stuff. But his parents never gave up on him. Us as friends, we never gave up on him. We didn't see him very much, but when we did, we always supported him, told him how much we loved him and we cared about him. But he had an experience in his life that was very emotional and spiritual, that caused him to rethink his life. There was an accident. His brother got in a serious accident and almost lost his life. And basically at that point, he looked at his dad, asked his dad to give his brother a blessing right then and there, gave him a blessing. Some things happened, and Tyler changed. He realized he was on the wrong path, doing the wrong thing. He changed. He repented. He went on a mission. He got married. You know, he had kids. The really sad part of the story, though, with Tyler is Tyler passed away a couple of years ago from some heart problems. But I look back and I look at his life and my life and think of, what if I just continue to just go hang out with Tyler and let him influence my life and do those things when I was younger? I would not be the person I am today. I'm the person I am today, not only because of my family, but because of my circle. The circle of people I decide to hang out with and be around. Because there have been times, and you probably have this, and everybody's had this, we've been through times where we hang out with the wrong circle. And we do those things, and we hang out with them, and then we're just kind of like, I mean, are these the only guys that like me right now? Because I don't like myself. I don't like what's going on with my life, you know? But I think really, if there's any advice I could give to anybody, and that's what I keep giving to people, is choose the right people to hang out with and be around. Choose the right circles, because it's going to influence your life, especially when you're young, And Gav, I mean, all these guys you have had on this call, they're all these guys from your youth and young age who were these huge influences in your life. And you look at them and you can see why they've had some success. You can see failures, but they've overcome them, because I think they've had some strong circles, just like Maka was talking about. So,
yeah. Having those strong circles, it's interesting too, because some of these guys that have been on the show, you know, I've known them for so many years, and they were in my circles for decades. And some of the things that they said on the show too, I was listening. I was like, "Wait, you did what?" Some of the stuff I didn't even know. I'm like, "Wait, you what? You did what?"
Yeah.
Oh man,
we all have to go through those all those little things, right? That we go experiment and try, but it's those experiences and trials that we have that don't take us off the edge and now put us in a position that we can't recover from.
Yeah.
You know, and then now we're affecting future choices we make. And then there's just a continual digging the hole and just digging another hole and digging another hole, rather than digging to be able to get on to get ourselves out. But yeah.
No, that's true, brother. No, seriously, Jay, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this, man. Yeah, folks, it's like super late over there. And I know Jay say he sleeps late, but I don't know. Right now it's like 9:30 going into 10 o'clock right now. And so it's cool that he was able to do this and stuff. And yeah, no, I appreciate you big time, man.
No, Gav, I appreciate what you're doing, and for all the young men out there and older men and experienced men and non-experienced men and everything. This is fantastic. It really has been awesome to hear all these stories and people who are close. I've known Adam for a long time, and I didn't know that. Like, I had no idea.
Yeah,
I had no idea what he just went through. And so some of those things, and then Craig Lindsay, and I've seen him around. It just
Craig?
Really
Craig?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. So it's great to be able to see what you're doing here and see these people who are really making a difference, and I love it, because everybody has a story.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the celebrity. You don't have to be the TikTok person, Instagram follower, and all this other, like, influencer and all those other things. Is give me the guys on this who are talking, who are sharing things. Except Tyler might say Jordan Peterson, that we need to get him on us. Oh,
dude. Yeah. He's got a lot of stuff. I know. I heard he's going through some stuff right now, but yeah.
But no, I commend you for doing this. I think this was inspired, definitely inspired for you to be able to create something like this. So thank you for creating this environment to be able to have it.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, cuz. Love you, bro.
Okay, love you too.
That is real fast. There was a gentleman that left a comment on one of the videos way in the beginning when I first started the channel, and he had said something. He wrote something. I think he's Tongan, just looking at his name, but he wrote something in Hawaiian, completely in Hawaiian. And then he said something about, I can tell that you are inspired by Kupuna to put this together. And I was like, oh, okay. I was just kind of thrown aback by that. I'm like, oh, you just gave me chicken skin saying something like that. And I mean, I'm not saying it to brag, but just hearing that from somebody who's a complete stranger, I don't even know, saw an episode, and to say something like that, I can tell, they're out there doing this, and it's a rough time, bro. We all kind of need that help. I do too. Like, having these conversations with you and all these other brothers, it helps me too, man. Big time, because there's a lot going on for everybody.
Yeah, the library you're putting together is going to help future generations. It's
yeah.
I mean, you think about this, to be able to have this, to be able to share with your boys,
Yeah.
and hopefully it will continue to motivate and inspire other people to be able to say, if it just changes one person, help somebody just change their mindset where they don't take that drastic choice or just are on the edge of something else. If it just takes one person to be able, this is totally worth it, Gav. Like, just totally worth it to be able to have. So
yeah. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, man. Folks, Ho'i Kaika, thanks for watching the show. And you can check out Jason on YouTube in a little bit. So mahalo, Jay. Mahalo, everybody, for watching.
Mahalo, Gav.